Hello everyone and welcome to Kanai's AI Lab. In this video, we are diving into something we all use every day, WhatsApp. But instead of just chatting, we are turning conversation into data and then data into powerful stories. Imagine a group of old college friends are reconnecting after 20 years to plan a reunion. The energy, the excitement, the hesitation of all it could captured by a single WhatsApp group. What if we could analyze those data? I mean, chats. What could we uncover? That's what we are going to do here. We will take a synthetic WhatsApp group chat simulating a real time reunion planning. And we use Python and NLP for data analysis and visualization. Along the way, we will explore who talks the most, when is the group most active, are people excited, unsure, or negative about joining? And even what are the most common words in the chat history? This is not just a technical tutorial. It is also about a story connection, emotion, and how data science can reveal hidden dynamics in everyday conversation. For exporting the chat from a WhatsApp group, you can follow this procedure. Select the group chat you want to export. Tap the three dot menu in the top right corner and choose more and export chat. Of course, without media this time and saving the file in .txt file. As I mentioned, we will be using a dummy dataset from reunion conversation, which is in txt format. As you can see here, we are users and datetime and the comment basically. All these are fictional and for only demonstration purpose. To start with, we will be installing the libraries like wordcloud, datetime, textblob, matplotlib, pandas, etc. Let me execute that. So the importing is happening now. So after the library import, we will be connecting our code to the data which is saved in the Google Drive so that we have to mount the collab into the drive. So we are driving the code now. So I'm connecting to the Google Drive. So I have to give some conditions here. So connecting with my IDs, clicking on continue. So one more click here. So we will be able to connect our code with the data. So now my data will be available in the content folder of my Google Drive, and within the drive, my data is available synthetic WhatsApp chat reunion updated in TXT formats. So we are going to read all the lines. Each line usually contains a timestamp and a sender details and a message. We use a regular expression to match the expression and split these three components correctly. Then we convert the timestamp from text into a proper datetime object. So we are going to skipping the lines that don't match the expected format. Finally, we store all this in a clean, structured data. We call it as pandas data frame, which makes Supreme easy to analyze further. So let me generate my first two rows of the data frame. I can see timestamp, sender, and message information of different person available within the chat group. So after that, with few lines of script, we have added few dimensions like date, hour, weekday, period, and day type. These are all created by using a qualifier called dt from the Python datetime function. And this feature will be more powerful when we move into detailed visualization and pattern identification in the upcoming steps. So let me execute this as well. Now we are going to ask our first question to the data. Who are all the top three most active participants in our WhatsApp reunion chat? So to identify the number or the name list, we are going to take the sender details of the data frame and using the function value count and adding first three data from this particular data frame. So let me execute this line and to identify who are all the top three participants. I can see here user 57 has almost 212 messages, 63 has 210 and 62 has 206. I can see strong chats are happening in this the group. So after identifying who is the top three, then we are going to identify what is the group activity changes over time. This is basically a timeline chart. So for identifying how the group activity changes, we will be grouping the data based upon the date, present and size, and we are going to plot this into a line chart. Rest everything is basically a kind of a styling of the chart. So I'm grouping the date, then sizing and plotting into a line chart. Let me see how the timeline varies for us. So you can see here there are peak and down in terms of chats coming in each and every day of group chat history. So with that, we are moving to the third question. We have to identify who is our or what is the busiest hours in our chat. So how do we identify the busiest hours? Definitely, it will be grouping based upon hour and size, and we are going to plot in terms of a bar chart. Rest everything again style function. Let me see the output. I can see the most busiest hours comes in the middle like 10th, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Rest actually the numbers are less. The peak hours are coming almost in the mid of the days between 0 and 24. So now with that we are moving, we want to identify how does the activity changes or differ between the day and night. So for identifying the difference between the day and night, we are taking the column called period and we are going to find the value count and plotting the bar chart. So let me see how the bar chart looks like. You can see the daytime chats are almost 12,000 while in the night it's coming between 2,500 around. So the daytime chats are coming more high from the data point of view. So next we are going to identify how does the activity in group differ between the weekdays and the weekend. So from the chart is already there, but how it made? So we take the date type column from the data frame and taken the value count. Again, plot the bar chart. We have a beautiful chart. So weekdays frequency messages are very, very high compared to the weekend. This is the output from the data. Next, we are going to identify so which user or which person send the most average messages per day in the group. So this code first group the messages by both sender and the date using the df of group by the sender and date and size and group buying sender. What is actually happening? So we calculated up to here the how many messages each user send in each day, and then it calculates the average number of messages per day by using group by sender and main function. So after that we are going to sort the function in the descending order and we are going to select the top 10, basically top 10 user with the highest average messages per day. So let me execute and see how it is going to look like. Yeah, so we can see here user 57, then user 62, 1, almost there are 5 6, or I can see almost 10 are averages coming around 5 per day. So this is a good sign, say that people are active and many are active. That is another sign. Next, we will identify which users send the most negative messages in the chat. So which may give an intention, say that they might not come or they may hesitate to conduct the event as well. So what do we do now? We define a list of negative keywords: not, no, out, waste, bad, mess, etc., etc. You can add many as well. So we identified this and checks each message for these words and creating a new column called is negative to flag the negative messages. It then filters the negative messages and count how many each user using the value count function, and the top 10 will be printing here. We can see which are the top 10 user sending maximum negative messages. You can see user 4, it's around 67 negative messages, followed by user 18, user 17. We printed the chat for just 10 numbers. There will be many negative comments apart from this. So after that, we are going to visualize what are the common words in the group chat. What do you mean by visualization of text? Definitely we know how to visualize the numerical numbers. So we are going to visualize the text by using a function called wordcloud. So how we do the wordcloud? We take all the comment, all the chat and join together using the function called join. Definitely which is all non-null elements. We are dropping wherever no messages or no elements are present, and we are joining everything and generating the text, calling as a text, and generate the word cloud with a dimension of 1200 and 600 height and width. So this is going to be our word cloud. Let me execute my word cloud. So I am going to display the word cloud of this particular group chat, which is a complete string. So word cloud normally interpret like this: the highest or the largest in terms of text strength, and the bold indicate the maximum number of word present list. I can see the update, meet, planning, going, energy. These kind of words present more in frequency within the text. That's the reason this is actually the size of the letter is more and this boldness of the letter is high. So with that understanding, we are moving to the next. We know that there are a lot of common happening and there are some words are frequently occurring. We want to understand now which user is actually intent to join. So that's very important. Now we check the sentiment we call, that is the intent of users to join. We take a function called classify sentiment function users TextBlob sentiment polarity function to analyze the sentiment of each message and classify the intent as likely to join or unlikely to join or unclear based upon the sentiment of each and every test. You can see here polarity of 0.2 is actually likely to join, else it is unlikely to join. But if the polarity is coming negative, maybe negative words, it's unclear. So later the sentiment scores are calculated using this particular function. We are applying this text blob to entire sentence. Then sentiment scores are conducted. Then we join the intended applying classify function along with the this particular sentiment score. So finally, we are going to plot a pie chart for the distribution of intent with percentage of the label. So the distribution percentage will be seen for 3 different classes: likely to join, unlikely to join, and unclear. Let me see how the results looks like. So the results are going to print now. So the result is like a pie chart with the 3 different percentage. Unfortunately, most of the messages like neutral might not be positive and might not be negative. Basically, they are unclear. That's why we can see a huge amount portion. So around 80 percentage is actually unclear. Only 12 percentage people are likely to join based upon the sentiment, and 7.8 percentage unlikely to join based upon the sentiment from the given text or given WhatsApp chat history. Now, lastly, we are going to analyze the mood of the entire group chat messages, basically combining every messages and finding the mood of the particular event, whether people will join or people will like. Basically, I want to identify is the activity is positive or if the activity is negative or the activity is neutral, so that they can predict whether the function is going to happen smoothly. Maybe just like an kind of an assumption only, may not be correct, but based from the data driven, this is going to be the decision. Again, we are taking a function called message sentiment by using the polarity from the text blob. You use the sentiment dot polarity. If the polarity is greater than 0.1, we are going to assign as positive. And if the polarity is less than minus 0.1, we put negative. and rest everything we comes under neutral messages. So we created message sentiment from this message sentiment function. We applied to all the text, and we created sentiment count basically based upon the value count function, and we plot a pie chart with a 3 category distribution with a level of positive, negative, and neutral. Let me see how the pie chart is going to look like. So the pie chart is preparing now. I can see very similar to the previous one, but this is from the mood perspective. I can see again 75% are neutral and 17% are positive, negative is almost 8%. So with maybe we can conclude there is a chance of attending 17 to 20% of people. Maybe in future again the chat continued more motivation or more kind of analyze, we can identify or bring the numbers into more. Maybe in future it is going to increase because data is going to be dynamic, the chat is happening continuously. So in summary, WhatsApp chat analysis reveals how group is interacted over time, who was the most active participant, when the conversation peaked, and what is the overall mood of the messages, etc. and etc. So it turned a raw chat data into a meaningful information or a meaningful story by using the visuals and sentiment analysis. With that, I'm closing this video. Hope you all enjoyed throughout this video, and stay tuned for more informative content in AI with Kanai's AI Lab.